Philadelphia, I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Well, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union, TrueMark.com/PHLY to find out the credit union difference. Well, there's a reason why I'm wearing the Eagles hoodie. This morning, I was like, I need to feel good about something in Philadelphia sports. You feel every once in a while where you just get pummeled, like it's a whack-a-mole, right? The Phillies, because the World Series begins tomorrow, and we're still looking at our Phillies wounds. Bang! Right? Like there's the mole, and we're going Red October. Bang! And the next thing you know, you're seeing stars. And then you go, all right, well, I'm enjoying the Flyers. It's kind of hard with Fedotov in net, and then some of the plays, they're young. So I'm not really upset. You kind of expected this. So you ride. This is a ride, right? Like you're just looking for little things during the course of a game. And, that's kind of where you're at. There's literally no expectations, but just to see improvement from the young players and to watch Michkov. And that's kind of where it is. And to me, that's the best way to approach it. So I'm not down or I'm not upset, but it takes you back to process days, right? It takes you back where you're like, you really aren't going to win, and you're okay with it, and you're looking for improvement. And then speaking of the process, there it was last night, the opener, with a lot of disgruntled fans. And to this day, like if I told you, and you know how it is, guys, like it's coffee talk, Wawa talk, right? Like Wawa talk is what? Hey, man, what's going on with Embiid? Right? What's the real story with Embiid? And it's people, I stop my boys at the tolls. What's the real story with Embiid? And kind of what it is, right? I don't think there's some mysterious injury that he hurt himself in the Olympics because he looks good. He lost weight and he looks good. There is this whole thing about ramping it up. That's their word, right? Ramping it up. And, I think that he's so conditioned, so worried about that thing that it's got to be 100% okay that he did the Olympic thing. And, of course, that's the crux of everybody else's issue, right? Everybody's issue is, well, why'd you play the Olympics? And he's going to say, well, it meant a lot to me. And, I became a citizen and I wanted to be on Team USA. It's a big honor. And so I deemed it worthy. It doesn't mean I don't want to win a championship. It just means I deemed it worthy to play in the Olympics. That's what he's going to tell you. And then you're going to go, oh, I'm frustrated already. But the truth of the matter is, how many games do you think he's going to play this year? 50, right? I'll set the over-under at 55. He's already not playing the back-to-backs. So there's 13 back-to-backs during the course of the season. He's going to miss the first 3. So now you're down to 16 off the 82, right? So as you're looking at 66, you know he's going to miss another 10 games out of the 66. Like, there's no way he doesn't play. There's no way he plays at all 66. So he's going to miss another 10 somewhere across the line. And probably at the end of the season, they'll have him miss a couple. You're probably looking at another dozen games that he misses. So, you're in that, somewhere between 55 and 60 range. And it really is the course of the season, right? The course of the season is, hey, wake me in the spring. That's what everybody, I heard it from, 10 people this morning. This was the reaction. Hit the call. Wake me in the spring. Let's see if they get out of the second round. That's what it is. That's the danger that the NBA plays with the whole load management. They can talk all they want about their investigating and all this other nonsense. You know, what are you going to do? The genie's out of the bottle. It's already there. So I don't know what you're going to wind up doing. The shame is I watching Maxey last night, and I just feel for him, right? Because he's their only true offensive weapon. And they ran to Doc. Doc Rivers wanted that game. Like, he wants to beat the Sixers any chance he gets. And so he's sitting there, and he ran 2 guys at Maxey the entire game. Right? Like, he ran 2 guys at him. So Tyrese shoots 10 for 31 because the only way he can get a shot, he still scores 25. The only way he can get a shot off is if he uses his blazing speed to kind of beat somebody off the dribble and go in for a layup. The other thing I have to say is he's got to get more calls. This has nothing to do with the game. They're going to lose the game. But I'm just talking about from a Maxey standpoint. He's got to get more calls. He got cracked a couple times down the lane, and they swallowed the whistle. You got to put air in that whistle, man. I mean, Tyrese Maxey is a legitimate all-star, right? Like, he's got to get calls. That's just my own little kind of thing. It wasn't going to mean anything. But you saw it last night. They're going to run 2 guys at Tyrese. You know, that's it. Nice to see Yabusele's got a little game. That was good to see, right? Like, you know, got a little of that. I mean, but that's kind of where we're at. We're in this mode of, you know, give me breadcrumbs. Like, I'm looking at crumbs right now. And then you look and you go, all right, well, Phillies are done. Whack-a-mole. Flyers, whack-a-mole. Sixers, whack-a-mole. And then Sunday, Birds, and I grabbed this sweatshirt to wear on purpose because, I mean, truthfully, I'm worried about this game. The Bengals are a 2-point favorite, and this is a big matchup. And especially coming off the last 2 weeks where you played quarterbackless teams, right? You played the Browns that have no quarterback and a banged-up offensive line, and then the Giants, who have a rotten quarterback, and we're missing their best player, Andrew Thomas, at left tackle. So now you walk into Cincinnati, and you got to deal with Burrow and Chase and Higgins. I mean, I don't know what to expect. I'm hoping to kind of be pleasantly surprised and that, you know, they can match scores. Here's what I want. The win is gravy. Like, I obviously you want to see them win the game. But this game has to be competitive, or else that will shake us to the core. So I put this game, and as I look at the game has to be competitive. Like, they can't get riddled and, you know, lose, you know, 34-13. And the defense get riddled. Like, I need you. You lose. I mean, that's just part of the NFL schedule and part of the parity and the way the league is. It's an understandable loss. But you got to be competitive. That's kind of what I'm going to be judging Sunday on. Good morning, VG of Violations Gregory. Give a little applause.
Sound effect. I like it.
He was hitting the soundboard this morning, my man. I love it. I love it. I'm a big soundboard fan.
Hitting the sauce.
Yeah. Where you at?
I feel pretty good. I feel like I'm the polar opposite of you.
Why?
I don't think the Bucks look great. I think the Sixers, they have stuff going on where, you know, when Embiid and Paul George are there, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be better than the Bucks. And I feel good about the Flyers. The Flyers played like dog crap for
2 periods.
No, for the first till 4.5 minutes left of the second period. They turned it on.
Okay.
And I mean, they were competitive. It was 4-3. You got a dumb play.
Yeah.
And it leads to an empty netter, but they were in it. These kids showed fight. It all started, I think, with Nick Seeler getting into an argument with Torts behind the bench with like 4 minutes left in the second period. And then the team came out with some life. Fedotov, listen, the book's out on him. put a bunch of traffic in front of him and he's got problems. But also from that last 4 minutes of the second period on through the third, he played a nice game. So
his problem is, and again, I just think he is what he is. Like the Russian freighter is not the long-term answer.
No, he's not a long-term answer.
He lacks lateral movement.
Well, he looked
lateral quickness.
It looked a lot better last night in the third period, and he's gaining some confidence. I think that's important. Michkov, we saw a sniper out of Michkov. I mean, we got some highlights. I think at some point we can play them.
We'll get in. We'll get into it. Listen,
I mean,
I'm not down on the Flyers, but I just feel like I know what this. I've lived through this type of season, and again, I love watching the young players, so I'm going to be all in on that. However, like you're going to lose the majority of the games, which isn't. I mean, this is the kind of season. That's what it should be. That's kind of how it's set up.
Yeah, I'm looking for small little victories.
Well, yeah, you say small little victories, and I say give me some breadcrumbs.
I think you got the breadcrumbs last night from the Flyers.
Yeah.
And from the Sixers, I think you got. I mean, listen.
No, the whole thing. I don't want to hear. I'll be honest with you. I can't go Ray Sunshine. I know you got the hat on. I can't go Ray of Sunshine.
I mean, it's not
Sixers.
sunshine, but you got.
I can't.
It's like seven guys from Chew Playground got together, and it's going to take them all time to gel together. Maxey looks good.
It's not about the game. It's not about wins and losses right now. It's about the big picture. It's about my issue with this team is it's going to be like this the whole regular season. He's going to play. How many games is he going to play?
Well, I mean,
he's the story.
I don't know if
I don't care about it's nice Yabusele and all right. I love Caleb Martin. And Maxey's the greatest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's all about Embiid.
Yeah, so your issue is not with the team, it's with Embiid.
Well, my issue is with the whole thing, which is the way it's all set up.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 days, I just feel beleaguered already. Like it's game one, and I feel a little bit. Does that make sense to you? Like I look at it and go, they're going to take the regular season away. I hate that. I hate fast forwarding to the end of the season. But they almost leave you no choice.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't love the regular season NBA, so maybe that's the difference where it doesn't. I don't feel gutted by it.
I mean, why?
But I feel looking for the long
why pay
haul.
attention to it then?
Because it's here and it's happening.
Well, yeah, but don't you want to enjoy it? Like, I guess I'm doing a bad job at articulating how I feel to you because I look at Embiid and I go, how many games are you going to play? 55?
I'm thinking 40.
40?
Yeah. Yeah.
40.
It's half the season.
40.
Yeah.
If he plays
the cup's
40,
half full.
How do you? And it's like my man, the toll man. Like
by the way, the chat room is blown away that you don't have Easy Pass.
I don't have it on purpose. You know that.
I know
we know that.
I know this, but I don't think the chat room knew.
Well, God, you know why? Because I love talking to the toll takers. I talk to them every morning.
Yeah.
And I believe that I want them to have jobs.
I'm getting the pulse of the people.
And like that's a good job working for the Port Authority, right? Like people feed families doing that.
Yeah, good benefits.
And I want to make sure that they exist. So I pay $6 in cash every day because I love those people. Is that something wrong with that, Frazier?
No, Easy Pass is nice to have, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, those people deserve money. They're out there working their buns off every single day.
Yeah, it's cold. You're dealing with who forgets the money. They got to go out, look at the license plate.
Yeah,
I mean those people work. That's a thankless job.
That's wild. They make them come out and look at the license plate.
Yeah.
That's wild because if I go through Easy Pass and it doesn't work, they snap a picture. You would think they'd be able to just snap a picture so these people can stay in the booth.
Yeah,
it's wild they don't camera that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Maurice is saying
a couple of the guys were saying that, look, what am I going to do come playoff time, right? Like, what am I going to do? Is that enough time for him and Paul George? And it's just
No, 40 games is not enough time. I don't believe it. Not with all these moving pieces.
Well, why are you happy?
I mean, I'm not happy. I'm just, you're
smiling.
I got a good night's sleep.
What's in your tea?
Nah, man, I followed Baldy. I didn't put any poison in my body yesterday. I got 7 hours sleep. I'm on Baldy's lifestyle. I feel great. He's on to something.
Yeah, you do. You look refreshed.
Yeah. I mean, a big chunk, I think, was when the game, 3 minutes in the game, I was like, wow, there's no Tobias on the court. And that warmed my heart. And then I saw highlights of him at the end of the Pistons game on the court as they lose it and fall apart. I love that. That makes me happy today. Max,
but I can't get
Maxey's
my
a
joy.
player.
Like, I can't get my. I already knew Maxey's a player. I can't get my joy out of no Tobias. Like, I can't. Like,
Spike joy.
yeah. Like,
No spike joy anymore.
No,
we can't have that.
It's not even spite joy.
That ain't
I hated tuning in to watch a game with him on the court.
Yeah, he was a hate to face. I
I hated it. So I didn't have that feeling at all during this whole game. It was all pleasant.
But
trees
for you
me.
to watch the Pistons yesterday and laugh at
No,
Tobias,
I just saw the
You
end.
saw the
on
highlights.
Sports Center.
Spike
I'm not
joy.
watching the Pistons.
Spike
I'm not that
joy.
much of a loser.
It is spike joy. I don't subscribe to spike joy.
I mean, and my buddy Heel puts up 22 last night. You got to be kidding me.
I mean, listen, he'll put up points in the regular season,
Yeah.
but we see him in the playoffs where he'll freeze.
Listen, I like Yabusele. He's nice. He's a wide man. He's wider than I thought he
Yeah,
was.
I like Yabusele.
Yeah.
Okay, you know.
So I mean, they'll go.
Again, I mean, it's about getting out of the second round, man. I gotta get. It's a long freaking time since day one.
That's the plan. Don't you hear Nick Nurse saying this is the plan?
If I hear one more
this
time,
is the plan.
If I
We went
hear
from the
one-
process to the plan.
Yes. Yeah, and if I hear one more time, ramp it up, right? Hear him ramp it up. Oh my God. It just wears me out. Like, they wear me out. I want to be excited, but I feel worn out.
Oh, you can't be excited right
I
now.
want to feel worn out. I do. I feel worn out by them.
From game one?
Ramp it up. Just Embiid fatigue. I love Embiid. I defend him all the time. I'm a sucker for that team. Every year, let's go. Let's go. Playoff. Suspend disbelief.
Yeah,
I
man.
give you all the time.
Yeah.
The 7 postseasons that I went into it, except for the one against the Celtics, where it was the bubble one where you knew they were going to get blasted.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, every other postseason, let's go. Let's go.
And they got Fit Dad CEO is at the
I love
game
Fit
last
Dad,
night. Yeah, and he's like, it doesn't help that you see Joel during timeouts and commercial breaks. Yeah, but walking around dribbling a ball, looking fine and normal.
I know.
Terrible optics. Tell him to sit on the bench.
It's terrible optics. Like, and it's like, well, guys, what are you worried about? Like, this attitude from them is nonsensical. Like, it's just nonsensical. Like, again, the opening night means something.
Yes.
It means something.
I'm going to have to go to reality TV, Judge Judy, because you're saying it's nonsensical. If it doesn't make sense, it's not true. That's what she'll always say. Someone lies. It doesn't make sense. It's not true. So, yeah, they're not being straight up with us. And that's what's really frustrating on all of this. We deserve better than this as fans.
All right, well, let's go to Birds. So you hear the way I look at it, right? I want Sunday. My bottom bar, my floor is I need a competitive game. Like, I'm not going to go, oh, my God, they lost, right? But they got to be competitive.
Within a touchdown, is that what we're saying?
You know what a competitive game is. It's got to be, you got to be in it till the fourth quarter, and, whatever happens, happens.
It's weird. And this, too, I don't know what's happening with me. I'm looking for small victories here, too. I feel like if I see some passes across the middle, if I see our secondary hold up to these wide receivers, I don't know. It feels promising to me.
He's like a new toy.
Yeah. It's like Christmas morning.
Yeah. He's playing all the sounds. I love it.
What was that? Seagulls?
That was an eagle.
An eagle.
That was
Eagle
an
screech.
eagle.
Yeah,
That's a
I gotta
baby
find a
eagle.
better one though.
That sounds like a baby eagle.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I need more than a throw over the middle. I need more than. Listen,
I think we're on the same page. The most interesting thing for me is to see the secondary matchup against these wide receivers.
Well, it's part and parcel of the front. Is the front real? Like, the front is eaten off of 2 bad offensive lines.
Right.
So I need to see, is the front real? That's what I need to see.
Yeah, and luckily,
I believe in the secondary. I love Mitchell. I love DeGene. I believe in the secondary. Right? I mean, the one safety spot, but I mean, I believe in it.
And the front should have its moments. This is not a great offensive line that the Bengals have.
Jordan Davis, come out to play.
Come out, wherever you are.
Please.
He'll play. He'll play in this game with Burrow and those receivers. What's he going to get? 20 snaps?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, he's not looking. I wouldn't expect a lot of Jordan Davis.
They've actually been running the ball pretty well too, the Bengals. So it's a good test for the defensive line. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you get Chase Brown's averaging 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
But their bread and butter is they're gonna throw it at you. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But I want to see how they've gotten healthier, Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
So their line has gotten healthier, and their defense has gotten healthier. We'll talk more about it with Baldy, but they're a healthier team. I just need I just need a competitive game. I can't have like one of those Tampa games where they're just rolling. Like the other, like I can't have that.
Mm-mm.
Halloween's next weekend.
Yeah. I can't. So that's kind of what my expectations are. What's the chat say?
There's no Eagle talk right now. It's all Sixers.
And they're saying the same thing about
the most non-excited opening game for the Sixers.
It was a drag. I mean, let's be real. It was a flat-out drag. Like we did yesterday. Clap your hands for the backups.
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
70 backups.
We got Lawrence Liero worn out from Embiid's BS. I've been on his side for the whole time, but it's getting so old watching Embiid-less Sixers.
And watching him in street clothes. It's my sweatsuit. I like
it wasn't nice.
I loved it.
It's a great hoodie.
I was like, man, I want that.
Yeah. They're about to waste another Hall of Fame potential player's youth and Maxey not getting a good enough supporting cast that's actually available. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Ed Wright, everyone is down on the Sixers.
I mean, I don't want to be down, but you know, Eddie's not wrong. I mean, I heard it all morning, all day yesterday. You had to hear it all day yesterday.
Yeah.
We were when we went to Angelo's, we got the cheesesteak with Kevin the Gandhi.
Yeah, everyone's had enough. We're maxed out.
Not maxied out.
No.
We love Maxey.
Wasn't this in-season tournament supposed to help combat
the in-season tournament?
This load management
I
stuff?
still don't even understand the in-season
That's what he's
tournament.
ramping up for the in-season tournament.
For?
If he plays in an
Ridiculous.
in-season tournament.
Who cares about the in-season tournament? That's all eyewash. That's your soccer world with the in-season.
Oh, I think it's dumb. I think it's really dumb.
You know,
get out of here. You're all Champions Leagued up. That's an in-season tournament.
That's different. That's different.
Yeah, because I'll come to your defense. The Champions League's awesome.
Yeah, that's like the cream of the crop.
Yeah, it's
fighting each other. This is like an in-season fugazi tournament for no reason.
The Champions League's all the great teams from all the leagues.
Definitely.
Last year. They might not be great this year, but it's the great teams from last year playing this year.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
All right. I mean, it just makes no sense.
Okay. Enough soccer.
Too much soccer.
All right.
You know what I can't get too much of?
TrueMark.
Credit unions.
Yes.
Credit unions, they actually care about us as people, as individuals, as families, as humans. Not like these big banks that are just about spreadsheets and profit margins. So when you join a credit union like TrueMark Financial, you become part owner, which means, they kick those profits back to you instead of going to the shareholders. Better rates, lower fees, better return on savings, and more flexible options. And they got all the same digital tools and apps and web things to make your tech life easier and make all your banking way easier. So TrueMark has local roots. They're headquartered in Fort Washington with 24 branches in the Philly area. They serve our community and our people right here at home. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over being a customer at a bank. It's really a total no-brainer. Head over to TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn more about TrueMark or to find a branch near you. That's TrueMark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA.
Right, my man. Let's talk about Ace.
It's the place.
It is the helpful place. You got a leaky pipe? At Ace Hardware Home Services, we're around the block. Everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. All right? So I had a great experience. I can't tell you how incredible the experience I had with Ace Hardware Home Services. So my heater goes. The unit. All right. It was the air conditioning, the heater, the cold night, like the upstairs was bad. So you got to, winter's coming. Winters are coming.
Can't deal with cold.
So I got to go to Ace. All right, Ace Hardware Home Services. And man, and it's tricky, right? Because my unit was old. So they're like, listen, we got to you got to cut a roll through hole through the roof. Of course. There's pipes. There's the whole thing. Man, they were amazing. Mariano, Matt, like they were incredible. They come in, they're neat, clean, courteous. I mean, they do everything right. I mean, they were pleasant. In fact, they were great guys, but they just were diligent in what they did.
I wish I was those guys.
I mean,
these skills.
Oh, they had great skills. I was watching them do it. I got home and watched them do it. I made the guys a couple roast pork sandwiches.
Nice. Oh, that's nice. Nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I'm a big believer in somebody's in the house.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to give them water, soda, right? Feed them.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
That's what we do. So I made a couple roast pork sandwiches for the guys. They loved it. And it's just about Ace, man. Ace Hardware Home Services. They have these dedicated teams that can come out anything you need. So, they have all the stuff that you can fix it yourself. But why? Get the experts at Ace Hardware Home Services. You get started on your next project. All right. I'm telling you, visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com and let them take care of the job. Ace is the helpful place at home. Love it.
Love it. Oh, man. I'm my own Yams now in the chat is saying it's time to really push trading the GIMP because there's no way this team gels enough to win the chip.
You won't get anything for him.
You can't trade the GIMP.
I can't believe it's what they're calling them.
That's a great name.
But listen, can you blame them? Like, I can't blame. First of all, it's a great nickname. Who's Zed? Zed's that name. I mean, the GIMP. You can't trade the GIMP, though. I'm telling you, there's no way you trade the GIMP.
They just gave him an extension.
Yeah, I mean, it's all. Forget it. This is our lot.
Giving a guy an extension, he can't even get. He's not even ready for the opening game.
This is our lot in life. All right, now let's go. Oh, this is one of my favorite segments of the week, where we go to the editor's desk.
Yeah,
with the great Pat McLoone.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
This just in, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea. It's time for headlines from the editor's desk with Pat McLoone.
Good morning. Good morning, my brother.
Hey, guys. I was so thrown off by that last week that I never properly thanked VG for his handiwork.
My pleasure, Pat. It's not even good enough. It doesn't even do you enough justice.
And I am the bearer of good news, Anthony. By dint of how we do this, rolling out the 5 topics, the Sixers will only take 20% of the conversation.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, when we get to it, you'll see my headline was Sixers flame the fans. And
let's go with it. Roll it up. Let's get right to it. Go ahead, Andrew. There it is.
Yeah, a little play on fanning the flame. The Sixers are flaming the fans.
I love it.
In my opinion,
so creative.
Yeah.
It's tough. They're lucky, this team is sold out. They've been sold out for years. They're very popular. But it's the third time in 5 years that one of their stars isn't ready for the opener. How much drama can these fans take? The Ben Simmons drama, the James Harden drama. Now this. And the other thing is, it reminds me a little bit about when we went off about Coach Sirianni the other day, is a lot of it is about how you present everything and how you treat the fans. Early on, they said that Embiid wasn't going to play in the preseason. Okay. Nobody needs the preseason. And then they say he's not going to play the back-to-backs, which if you're going to buy into the notion of you want him healthy for the end of the year,
all good.
You can't have it both ways.
Right.
But then, 48 hours or less, they drop he's not playing in the opener.
And he's not injured.
Keep trotting out.
Not only, Pat, is he not playing in the opener in the first 3 games? He looks great.
He's fine.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Anthony. It reminds me of, was there anything more annoying over the last 10 years than those pitiful summer videos of Ben
workout
Simmons
Ben
lighting it
videos.
up?
Yeah.
Oh, I got so tired of that. It never
I'm in the
manifests
lab.
itself. And that's how I'm feeling. Nick Nurse has to be the bearer of the news and the face of the organization. He's a good coach and seems like a really good guy. But don't drop in about how good he looks and how great he is. Well, then why isn't he playing? And you could have done something as simple as played him 30 minutes last night, not played him in the next game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It just opens
I
up
don't
too
mind
much.
if he sits a week. Like, play him last night just for symbolic purposes, and then let him sit a week. Who cares?
Exactly. And yeah. And then it's this notion of, well, that was the plan all along. Well,
How
how
come you
about
include us
us
in?
in?
Yeah.
They could have told us at the beginning of preseason he's not playing in the preseason, and we're gearing up to have him ready for the 1st of November. You'd look at the calendar. Oh my God, he's going to miss up in the beginning. Okay. You'd stew over that a little while. By the time the opener came around, and nobody's blaming Paul George. The guy's hurt,
Right. We saw it. We saw
But
him
it also
hyperextend his knee.
something to worry about that there's more to it or whatever. Because if you're just saying that it's a plan that we're going to do all along, I think that's disrespectful to the fans.
I completely agree. I like, oh, yeah, it's the plan. Oh, really? Oh, okay. You drop it on, and like the last minute, you drop this. Oh, yeah, it's the plan. I
thought it was really funny
I don't know what to tell you.
You hear Nick Nurse? He looks like he doesn't even know the plan. He's almost like doctors. He's just not ready. He's just not ready.
Yeah, you're so right. If in the beginning of this thing, they tell you, listen, the target date, like you said, November 1st. I mean, what are you going to do? Okay, like you're right. People have been like, why is he playing the Olympics? And you grouse. But you're prepped for it. You know going into it. But now it feels like a hoodwink.
Exactly. And I have no problem with it playing the Olympics. Who are we to tell somebody to turn down that kind of an opportunity?
I agree.
But this kind of thing that just exacerbates it.
And
All
this
the
is
while you're playing the Olympic stuff, you're just setting, all those people off like that. Allen Iverson was great about a week ago. He was being interviewed about something. And Iverson went on about load management a little bit. And he was really funny. He said, I don't know why would I sit out a game? I love to play the games. Now, look, if you want to do load management for me back in the day, I used to sit out to practice. And, he gets a good laugh or whatever. But there's something to be said for that, I mean, just keep him moving along, that he's properly conditioned, and that he's playing. And now when you put up the miserable number of 50, and you look at VG, the very refreshed Baldy plan VG, he says 40. Oh my God, how low can we go, guys?
It's like Price is Right. $1, one game.
And what does 193 million get you these days? We were
Also,
Trey Turner for the 300 mil. At least he's out there swinging.
Pat, this is a team with these optics. They're trying to lobby the city for a new arena. I mean, this is just, how is it this? They're just so missing the boat on this right now. The city, as the fan base, the city is just so frustrated. The last thing they want to give them is a new arena.
And it's a really recent phenomenon that the arena is sold out for Sixers game. That has not always been the case. And it doesn't mean that arena is going to be sold out forever. So you gotta, if you're going to play it this way, you gotta have goodwill for the fans as something paramount. And even if they don't like what's going to happen, just having a little full disclosure or transparency about what's happening goes a real long way. Dropping that stuff 36 to 48 hours before, that's just not the right way to do it. It's not fair to the fans.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen. All right, headline 2.
Okay, well, I'll give you a little taste of where we're at. We have
I love
Eagles, World Series, NFL, and thank you for your service.
All right, I'm going to go with World Series.
Okay. The headline on that is very simple. The Mets lost.
Love it.
Oh, what a happy day. That weekend turned into Sunday to Monday. A relaxing Eagles game, relatively relaxing, and then seeing the Mets lose. That was beautiful. So I would personally like to thank Dave Roberts and the Los Angeles Dodgers for their efforts.
Go blue.
Their efforts are interesting in relation to the Phillies. The Phillies just couldn't stop chasing.
Yep.
And the Dodgers probably have a debt of gratitude toward the Phillies because they looked at what you called all those pitchers pitching with guile. Well, those pitchers with guile weren't throwing strikes. And the Dodgers tried something crazy. They just made them throw strikes. And the Mets in 6 games walked the Dodgers 42 times.
Yep.
7 walks a game. That puts a lot of guys on base. And then I really want to bring up something about over the years, less and less surprises you. This number blew me away. Have you seen the number of Ohtani with runners in scoring position?
Yeah, it's
Oh
mind-boggling.
my God. He went 1 for 2 in his last game, 500, and it lowered his average. Ready for this? Ohtani, the last 24 times runners were in scoring position, his batting average is 792.
Oh, my
19
God.
for 24, which gets me to something that I've felt a long time. I think Ohtani is the most underpublicized phenomenon of our lifetime. There are
Agreed.
people that get mega headlines for far less. This guy, we're lucky to watch this guy during our lifetime. This is
Yes.
really, really amazing.
He's the greatest
19
player in the history of the game. I don't know. Nobody can argue anything. The Babe Ruth thing, I don't want to hear it. I mean, this guy is the greatest thing ever. And you're right. I mean, think about through the years, the amount of headlines and noise guys get for a quarter of his accomplishments.
Exactly. And I mean, people, he gets a lot of, but it's amazing. The fact that a guy could hit that way in runners in scoring position, and he's a guy when healthy who pitches and hits, he's almost like a Sports Illustrated character. He's almost like a real life Sid Finch, something you would write
Yes.
to just say, but he's doing it in real life. And I know this doesn't necessarily.
Series.
Oh,
the
yeah.
other thing,
They're showing him warming up in the bullpen. He might pitch this series.
And how the Dodgers got there is the bullpen games. My God, bullpen games. Now, you'd want to really throw down on the Dodgers, but it's incredible how many injuries they had to starting pitching. But,
Yeah.
when you think about that the Phillies couldn't find a 5th starter in their organization and bullpen games, it really makes you wonder about pitching in general in the game. I mean, that Phillies rotation, if they ever get it with Painter, teams just don't have that kind of depth. And the Dodgers trotted out a bullpen game not once, but twice.
I know.
You can see a bullpen game if you were like the Mets were that one time and you were taxed and you're going into it, and you throw up a bullpen game to stabilize the rotation. But the Dodgers did it twice. They got rocked in game 2, and they won it in game 6 with a bullpen game. It's another thing that if we were sitting here doing a show 6 or 7 years ago together, and what a joy that would have been, and you brought up this concept of bullpen games, you would be like, what? That's ridiculous. What is that? There was no such thing as a bullpen game back in the day. Nobody ever started I don't know, was it Tampa Bay or somebody that started it?
Yeah,
But
Tampa
bullpen
started.
games are an oddity, and they're probably going to have to do it against the Yankees.
You know what's wild too is like the Tigers. They every game other than School Bowl was a bullpen game.
Yes. Yes, that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't want to get through the baseball segment, even though it's World Series, without mentioning Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of your listeners, I understand, won't go back to 1981. But that was a singular phenomenon. That Fernando mania was really amazing. Wins his first 8 with an 0.50 ERA. And to bring it in locally, it all blew up against the Phillies. His first loss was a 4-1 loss, and he ran into a guy named Mike Schmidt.
Wow.
And Schmidt hit a home run, and the Phillies finally slowed him down.
That's awesome. Do you remember him coming in for that? Was it a home game? And what was it like in town? Like, what was it like? Oh my God, Valenzuela's pitching.
It was big. It was really big at the time. In fact, I remember, and God bless the budget we had back then, we put Rich Hoffman Sr. on the road out there. Rich was out in L.A. after the first couple games, and knowing he was, going to be here, we went out and Rich tried to capture it as it related out there. But the whole thing, the crazy delivery, the eyes rolling to the top of his head, it's ironic because Rich Sr. is a guy whose eyes roll to the top of his head. Not that he is much of a windup, but Fernando, the whole thing, And then the other thing about Fernando is he pitched for the Phillies he wound up being a guy that banged around and it didn't work for a while. And he was with the Phillies in '94 for a little while.
Yeah, I forgot that. That's wild. That's great stuff.
But it really was 2 months or so of Fernando mania. It really was a phenomenon at the time.
That's cool. That's really cool. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to take
Eagles, NFL, or thank you for your service.
I'm going to go Birds.
Okay. And you and VG did a real good job covering this. I read a real nice Diehards piece by Les Bowen on this, looking ahead. And you're right on it. The headline that I have is WORK in Cincinnati.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it.
And again, I'm losing to 20-year-olds, but you and VG
You're
know where
losing
I'm
to
going.
40-year-olds.
Yeah. But there's something. First of all, there's something odd about the Bengals. When the Eagles' history with the Bengals is really weird, to the point that they haven't beaten them in the last 5 times they've played, and 2 of them were ties.
Do you remember the game? It was bad wind in Cincinnati, and Donovan threw the ball 50 times. And I'll never forget Andy. Like, people were coming, why is he throwing the ball 50 times? There was like gale force winds during the game, and it ended in that ugly tie.
Yes, I remember it well because I was infuriated to a degree, and there was no red zone or phones back then that were right on it. I guess I followed it on the internet somehow, but I remember my son Tom at a CYO game and the dreaded B game, I think, on a Sunday afternoon, and I had to make that tough father decision. And I'll tell you what, the kids don't win over the Eagles very often, but I wound up going to that game, and I remember at the end thinking, that would have been miserable to have watched. So I felt a little, but I absolutely remember that game. Yeah, absolutely. And, but to the point that you made, I'll be really impressed if the Eagles can go out there and win. If they go out there and win Sunday, I'm going to say, hey, we have something here. And I don't like conceding this. I don't like conceding anything. But like you said, if they lose a certain way, I'm willing to let them dust themselves up and get after it for the rest of the season.
All right.
Yep.
See, Pat and I walk the same walk.
Yes. But if they win, in the defense, we're going to find out because teams haven't scored a touchdown on the Eagles in the last 2 games. But, they could have been playing Cherokee or St. Augustine Prep or somebody, and they might have been able to sneak a TD in there. You know, so we'll see. It's a real offense with a real quarterback, but let's take it for what it is. After 6 games, the Eagles have only given up 115 points, as frustrated as we are. If we were sitting here at the beginning of the game and saying, give me a little factor to go into how I'm going to pick these games, and you say, okay, points against after 6 games, 115, we'd go, oh, we're in great shape. And, 4-2 is fine. But that's not bad. That is seventh in the NFL. Not bad. But, Burrow could put a 40 up on them if things go wrong. And I think you're right. It's going to be a good test of the secondary, but more importantly is can they still get heat on this guy,
Yeah, because they got heat against a banged up Browns front and a hideous quarterback, and the same thing against the Giants with no Andrew Thomas and Daniel Jones. So, I'm bought into the secondary. I love those kids. I'm all in secondary. I just need to see, is that front real? I believe Carter is, but I don't know about anybody else.
Right. And if the right opportunity comes up in your conversations with Baldy, that Andrew Thomas reminds me of something. How bad is this guy Neal that the Giants picked with the 7th pick in the draft? Evan Neal. They're decimated. They're putting a guy at left tackle that's never played it before. And it was never a thought to pull the 7th pick in the draft and give him another shot. I would love to know from Baldy why this guy has failed so miserably.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely bring that up.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Oh, one of those ties, Pat. Wasn't it the game McNabb forgot the overtime rules? One of the ties with the Bengals?
Yes, I think you're right. I forget whether it was the 23-23 or the 13-13.
I think it was a 13-13.
That was not a good look.
We crushed them.
Yeah.
We roasted them.
Yes.
My God, dude! I need another overtime rule.
Yes.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of kids' games, I got a game at noon on Sunday.
Oh, what is
in
it?
Pennsauken. Massimo.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't do it on Saturdays and let the kids watch the pros.
These Sunday games are the worst.
It makes no sense.
Maybe a couple of those kids have sticky hands. Mosh throws a couple touchdowns. They pull them out like they did Hurts the other day, and you're sitting in your house with 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Tell them to go to the air early. Audible, 10 or 11-year-old kid audibling the coach. I gotta get some.
I love it. All right, let's go NFL.
NFL, I just wanted to bring this up, and the headline I have for this is bad ball. There was a guy that was in this town, he passed away, named Jack Shore. God bless him. He was the AP writer, and he was most known for college basketball. He used to run pickup games at the Palestra at Wednesdays at noon. And that was cool because it was your chance to get and play on the Palestra floor. But anyway, if you sat next to Jack at the
I played a couple of those games. He was amazing. What great shape he was in for his whole life. God bless him.
He's in his 70s, and if you left him open for that two-hand set shot, forget about it.
He drained it.
But anyway, if you were sitting next to Jack at a game, and it could be, Lafayette Penn, it could be anything, he would just have a couple jokes, but he'd turn it to you at some point, he'd say, bad ball. And I was thinking about Jack in relation to the NFL. Anthony and VG, the Giants, the Panthers, the Titans, the Browns, the Patriots, the Jags, the Dolphins, the Raiders. There's some really, really bad squads in the league this year. And they all have something in common.
No quarterback.
Play.
Yeah.
They either don't have a quarterback. In the Dolphins' case, the Dolphins are a playoff team if they have Tua healthy. But there's some, without them, they might be the worst team in the league. And, they talk about parity, but there's parity and then there's just really bad. And it's kind of skewing. That's why we're looking forward to the Eagles game. We're going to see if it's a real test because they played two of these teams.
It's a great point. And you know what's interesting off of that? The bad teams are getting worse because the contenders are pillaging their players, right? So, like we saw Amari Cooper go to Buffalo, the Chiefs, right? There's talking about Miles Garrett.
Hopkins. Yeah.
Right. There's talk about, you mentioned the Titans, right? There's talk about Crosby, Max going to Detroit, right? So those teams are going to get even worse.
Yes. And to me, the ultimate manifestation of how bad a squad can be is we know the Panthers have quarterback difficulties. But how bad a squad are you when you allow Marcus Mariota to go 18 for 23 with over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns? We saw, he's definitely washed. But he's a pro and a veteran, and he could take advantage of a really bad squad. But that's really, really bad.
The last time he had success like that, he had a duck on his helmet.
Yeah, that's right. Sure. That's right. Yeah. Boy, talk about hindsight. Chip wanted to mortgage the ranch to get him in town. Oh my God. You probably would, to this day, you wouldn't be able to put that sweatshirt on. You'd be so disgusted with the way the reverberations of all that stuff. Well, oh my God. And it shows you how the league can change. We were thinking, well, the Eagles are 1-1, but we're not going to get a true test this week because even if they play well on defense, the Saints are going to put up 50 points on them. That's how we looked at them in week 3. We're in week 8 or 9 now, and they've lost 4 or 5 in a row. Carr's hurt, and they're horrible. So your fortunes can, you can go from the top to the bottom in this league in a real hurry too.
Look at Tampa, right? You want to talk about going to the bottom. You lose Evans, and the Godwin injury was awful.
Yes, that was one of those ones you turned away from. That's a shame. Really bad. Really bad.
No, but you're
bad ball out there, boys. Bad ball.
Bad ball. Yeah, there is. And it's funny because you look at some of these games this week and you're like, ew, ew, ew. The 4 o'clocks, because Washington flexed out, right? Because Eagles flexed out for the 2 quarterbacks, and there's no Jaden, right? Because I get it. I love to watch Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels. Then you lose Daniels. Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how much the league is. The Bears. I don't have the matchup off the top of my head, but it struck me that the Bears were a favorite this year. Vegas likes the Bears, and they've been playing good. It must have to do with the defense, and they think that Caleb's coming along because I know you didn't like what you saw the first couple of games, but he's starting to come along.
Yeah, he is. The other thing that's interesting about, because you bring it up with Mariota, but you look at these quarterbacks like Flacco. Look at these guys coming in and having success. As horrible as Carolina is, they actually can move the ball a little bit at times because of Andy Dalton. He's not awful. It's bizarre, these teams with these veteran backups that have been watched for years, but because the game slows down for them at that age, they can move the ball. Seriously.
Their expertise is really showing. Yes.
Yeah.
They still can take advantage of a mismatch or a team that's got problems.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I love this story. I think I know where you're going because I think the story is awesome.
Yes, and I hope you don't mind. It's a little off the beaten path, but we have to sneak this in.
Yes.
And when I have the few, the unbeaten. Now, listen, I don't want any feedback. I know that the few is the Marines, and this is Army and Navy, but this is an incredibly cool story, in my opinion. And it might come to an end Saturday as Navy as Notre Dame, but maybe not. But this is really cool, and it's got one of the biggest oddities of all time. I mean, Army is 7-0, Navy is 6-0, They are both ranked for the first time since the first year of JFK's administration.
Whoa.
1960.
Wow.
Wow.
And they're not just undefeated. They're pummeling teams.
Yes.
I mean, Army is beating teams by an average of 28 points. Navy is beating teams by an average of 25.2 points. Both of them put a thumping on our Temple Owls.
Yes. I'm looking at their schedule.
It's so cool how they're doing it. And Army's got a real versatile quarterback who you can't put 11 in there because he can beat you through the air. But the thing that really jumps out at me, excuse me, and I'm sure you guys might have seen this, is if this plays out and they stay unbeaten in the conference, this American, I think they would have changed it, the name of the AAC to the CMT, the Conference of Misfit Toys, but they're in there. They're in there. And if they get to it, and the two of them, they could play for the American championship game. And I'm sure the wheels are turning already, how you handle this. In theory, on Friday, December 6th, Army's playing Navy, has to be the first time ever, in a non-Army Navy game. Friday the 6th, and then Saturday the 14th. And we come up with our Philadelphia angle. It irks me to no end that this Army Navy is going to roll around,
I hate it.
I got to think the previous mayor didn't do all he could to get their fair share, because the game is not back in Philly until 2027.
Yeah, that's horrible.
The fact that
We
it's not
don't
even
even
here
get
in
it for
2026.
Right. We don't even get it for the 250, 250.
Right,
That's
right.
ridiculous.
It's insane.
Yep, it's at the Meadowlands in 2026.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And
I got to tell you, Pat.
I get it from the service academies. If you need to have it on the West Coast every year or two, that's okay. That's fine. But if you look at it, they're in Boston this year. Then they're in Landover. Then they're in Baltimore. I mean, they're just twice in Maryland. Then they're in New Jersey, and then they're in Philly. And I think it was before that, in 89 of the 122 years, it was in Philly.
So I have to tell you, when I close my eyes to fond memories, I think about Army Navy at the Vet and the city dressed up, right, for the holidays, and the servicemen in town. Like, I remember going uptown, like, on a Friday of the Army Navy game and being a kid, and you see all the Army Navy guys, right, all walking the streets. The town's, dressed up for Christmas. And I don't know, I felt such, like, patriotic, like that pride. I loved it.
Yeah, all the pubs we filled with all the guys
man,
in
they were the
uniform.
best, man.
Yeah, and the president walking to midfield with it's so cold mouth and yes.
That's great
But
memories,
I think
man.
I had to sneak it in. I hope you don't mind, because it is so cool that they.
There's a reason why I went last with it. Is I'm in love with the story. And by the way, Notre Dame playing Navy at the Meadowlands, and then Notre Dame playing Army at Yankee Stadium. How great is that?
Yes. I've seen Notre Dame play Navy in 4 different states: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Indiana. The one time I made my pilgrimage to Notre Dame, it was for Tony Rice was Notre Dame's quarterback.
Wow, that's fabulous. You got to do one in Dublin.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Yes.
Because didn't they play Navy in Dublin? I know they played Georgia Tech, but I thought they played Navy too.
They were out there. Yeah, I think that was the original one was out there.
Yeah. I got to see Pat in Dublin. And I like, nothing would be better than to watch a Notre Dame Navy game and then have a pint of Guinness with you in Dublin.
I'll be out there in July with Tracy's family, the Murphy family, and we'll be there. We'll be and the biggest bar in Dublin is the Temple Bar.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Temple Bar is the biggest thing. That's where you get the music and the whole feel there. It's a great.
Cool.
It's It's the Temple Bar District. Yes.
That's fantastic. Pat, as always, you're the best. We love you. Great stuff.
Thanks, guys. Always appreciate it.
The great Pat McLoone from the editor's desk, man.
It's a
I
fun
love
segment.
It really is. Kind of the headlines of the week.
Yeah.
We love it. All right. Lot to talk about. Let's talk about Golden Nugget Jewelers. Golden Nugget Jewelers is where Philly gets engaged. Tell you about Yaron, all right? So Golden Nugget Jewelers, Yaron owns Golden Nugget Jewelers. He's been there for years, right? He's right in the heart of Jewelers Row, 8th and Chestnut. And he's the destination for engagement rings, for engagement season, because it's not unlike football season, baseball season, whatever it is. It's engagement season. It runs from the fall, from the autumnal romance, right, that you get in the fall to, you got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you got the Christmas holidays, you got New Year's Eve, you got Valentine's Day, which would be akin to the Super Bowl. It's the perfect time to get engaged. This is it. So if you are met that person, all right, you go see Yaron. He's going to walk you through the whole thing. All right, he's going to take care of you. Trust me, the process is going to be easy. He's going to work with your budget, and she's going to get something that's going to just wow her. All right, Golden Nugget Jewelers, right in the corner of 8th and Chestnut. And don't forget, they got everything, right? So all the jewelry needs, you really always need a guy. So even after you get married, you need a guy, you need a jeweler for all kinds of bracelets and earrings and everything, you name it. You got to go see your own Golden Nugget Jewelers. That's where Philly gets engaged. Let's talk about the BetParx online sportsbook casino app. That's right. The brain will come up and it'll give us a few and a couple jewels. So you can play the World Series. The one thing we talked about it last night because we were at Parks Casino and we had the great Matt Hannon on. I mean, he's fantastic. The head of the
Great
sports.
insight. That guy's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
He's great. We were talking about the Dodgers-Yankees World Series. The Dodgers are live. Like, if you're going to play a side in the World Series, you got to go Dodgers. We got to love it. Because he was telling me he had a lot of Yankees liability.
Yeah. I mean, that warms my heart. Any anti-New York bet I'm down with.
Yeah, I go Dodgers all day long.
Nice.
But all the stuff, right? All the stuff that we talk about, on college football and the NBA now, you name it. Of course, on Sunday, Birds a Dog on Sunday, 2 points. It's going to be interesting because we're talking about this whole thing. So check out the BetParx online sportsbook casino app. And don't forget, make your downtime fun time. So while you're watching the game, you got blackjack with live dealers, roulette, craps. VG likes the craps down with the live dealer.
Yeah.
The baccarat. It's all there for your fun and enjoyment. In fact, new users, if you're down in your first 24 hours, you get up to $1,000 casino bonus back. BetParx.com has all the details. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Can I just say, Kennesaw State, I gave you yesterday.
Oh, they
were dogs of 26.5 points. They won outright, 27-24.
What were they, the money line? I got to ask
I
Brain.
don't know what the money line was.
Oh, my God, dude.
Just give it out as like 4 straight winners of garbage football.
You are the king of trash college football. I love it. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. This portion of the program is brought to you by Rite Aid. That's right, Rite Aid. So your scripts, your flu shots, your Halloween candy. RiteAid.com, your neighborhood pharmacy.
I got a chocolate milk yesterday on my way in. I was like, I need some protein, a little chocolate milk for my Rite Aid.
Chalky milk.
Yeah, you don't like chocolate milk?
No.
Great in a rush. If you don't get breakfast, great protein. It's got fat. Baldy's probably a milk fan.
I'm not a milk person. I'm lactose free.
All right.
Yeah, can't do that.
He's got his Hunter shirt on today. It's camouflage.
Also, go Irish. Just how to say it.
There you go. I like your Irish pride. Frazier, it's good. All right, let's go Brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
Brain.
I swear to you, the first thing I was thinking today, first thing I woke up, I'm like, I can't wait to say to VG, Kennesaw State, because I knew, like, when I think of No joke. When I think of VG, I think of Kennesaw State, and when they won the game outright, like to say, no joke. I thought of you. I was so happy. I'm like, I hope you sprinkle something in the money. They're getting like 11-1, but
I
that may
don't
have been
play
too big
money
of an
line. I
answer.
didn't play money line. Get out of here.
Well, one of these days, but that was a heck of it, man. I was look, they beat them. It's funny. I was just look. It was actually a pretty good game. It was actually a pretty good game. And they were actually up 11, late touchdown at the end, cut it to 4. But I mean, yeah, great win for them. And yeah, the line actually went from 24 all the way up to like 26.5. So that's
Crazy.
probably. I'm trying to think. That was probably the biggest upset this year in college football. I think it had to be. Because Alabama Vanderbilt wasn't anywhere near that. I think that was probably the biggest upset in college football, believe it or not.
The Owls, Tennessee Owls.
You called it, man. The king of trash. VG.
I gave you UTEP the night before. Come on.
All right. We got to move quickly. Curious, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Tonight, what are you thinking? It's, again, Vikings, a shallow dog, a shallow favorite, excuse me, on the road against the Rams.
Yeah, Anthony, listen, again, the only way I can look here is towards the underdog Rams. It's towards the underdog Rams. Look, 3.5 is ideal. You can still get 3 on Parks right now, and most sites have 2.5. So I would actually say if you like the Rams, Parks has, in my opinion, right now the best odds you'll get in the world, and that's the side I'm on tonight. Look, and I have so much respect for what the Vikings have done, Anthony. They've been terrific, tremendous, every adjective you want to use. But Cooper Kupp is playing this game, even though he's in the quote-unquote trading block. He is going to play in this game. They are, honestly, this is probably the healthiest, believe it or not, and they're still missing Nakua. Right up there is the healthiest the Rams have been. Stafford at home, I think it's going to be a 50-50 kind of game. I think it'll be really close, one-score game. And games I think are going to be really close, one-score games. Give me the 3 points, because I think if the Vikings win, it's going to be between 1 and 7. So I think even if they win, I'm still not out of it. I think there's a really good chance that the Rams win this game outright.
Wow.
Rams outright. Let's talk about some of the props and some of the stuff that you may like on Sunday. And I'll start with the Eagles. Eagles and Bengals. How do you handicap in this one?
Well, it's funny. The game itself, I think, is a really hard game. And the line, it's funny, creeped all the way up. It was like a heavy 2.5, almost getting towards 3. Now it's down, I think, 1.5, 2. So it has been bet down. Listen, I power rank these teams. I have the Eagles ranked ahead of the Bengals. So I actually think the line should not be as high as it is, because I think the Eagles are a slightly better team. But this is obviously a really tough game. And obviously, you have the Eagles team that finally had that game you wanted to have. And you have the Bengals team, which started off horribly. But again, let's be honest. Let's be fair. They I don't want to say dominated the Ravens, not fair, but severely outplayed the Ravens. And horrible coaching by Zach Taylor just lost in that game. And everyone's saying the Ravens are the first or second best or third best team in the NFL. And they just beat that, or had that team beat at home. I kind of lean over here, Anthony. I do think both teams will score. From a prop point of view, you just asked me. Saquon's over-under, I think, was 78.5. I think it was 78.5. The way he's playing, again, I always think those numbers are low. Like, I know that's a big number, and there's so many ways to get to an under when the number's that high. But, gosh, the way he looks, the way he's running. What I love about Saquon's overs right now, guys, is even if he is 42 yards in the fourth quarter, I still never feel out of it. Because it's like the old Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders, right? Where he'll just run off a 50-yarder. He can bust it. And so, to me, I think that number was a little bit low. Still don't truly.
To your point, the Bengals' rush defense isn't great.
No, well, the Bengals' defense in general isn't great. But Anthony,
they were hurt. They were hurt.
Point.
They got healthy.
And you said that, you called that out, Anthony, right at the time it happened against Washington. And they since did get back Sheldon Rankins, who, again, I don't know how much you believe in this pro football stuff, or what he's graded out as one of the top defensive tackles. And since he's come back, their rush defense has actually been severely improved.
Yeah. So
I will say that from that point of view, it will help them. But again, I just think the way Saquon has looked, I don't know. I just think he's going to have a really good game regardless what they have. It's interesting. Devontae Smith, Anthony, VG, what do you think his over-under is?
Yards?
Yeah.
33 and a
guys.
half.
If it was 33 and a half, I would have him. I'd be backing up the Brinks truck on an over bet. It is 55 and a half.
Oh.
55 and a half. So we will see, because he's been the guy to me that's really been I'm going to say phased out, but he hasn't seemed to have, like, he's had the year we would have liked to have seen from him so far. But we will see. But
it's about the quarterback.
He's wearing an invisible cloak over the middle.
Quarterback. It's not Devontae. He was wide open on a crosser.
I know
the
that.
quarterback was facing him, and he didn't throw him the football.
You're right. And again, I don't know if the Eagles have the right quarterback or not, but that's a different story for a different day. Jalen's over-under, by the way, is 220 and a half. That's a harder one for me, just based off of how much. Look, the Eagles actually
there. I mean, he'll throw a 65-yarder to AJ, and he'll throw.
Well, I liked last week. I liked what they did last week, guys. I know part of it was game flow because they're up by a zillion points. But I like when this team runs the ball and they take pressure off their defense. To me, it's a two-pronged issue. One, I don't trust Jalen fully. They have great receivers, and it takes pressure theoretically off him when you have run the ball successfully. And I think I like when their defense doesn't have to play as many snaps. That's the best defense, is not being on the field as much, right?
Yeah.
If you're in the field 27 minutes instead of 30, 32, that's going to help you as much as anything.
Yeah.
Brad, when you see the way the Eagles secondary's played and the defense has played lately, and you look at these receivers, Jamar Chase over 74 and a half yards and T. Higgins over 69 and a half, do you think either of those is an attractive under?
I would, between the two, VG, way more like the T. Higgins under. In fact, I didn't know that was that high. I actually may bet that now. 69 and a half. I think that's too high. Thank you. I'm actually going to bet that. I'll double check my work on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Again, that's a 10% commission, please, Brain.
Yeah, I'll give you 15. You should, but Jamar Chase, by the way, leads the NFL in receiving yards this year. He's been absolutely sensational. And just out of those two guys, I trust Chase significantly more. Higgins is obviously, to me, it's like the old, right? Remember Chad Johnson, TJ Houshmandzadeh back in the day, where Chad Johnson was getting 1,500 yards, TJ was getting 1,100 to 1,200. They're both really good, but the one guy was just better. To me, a little bit, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown. Both guys are good, just one guy is better. I think the same thing there. I definitely lean Chase over and Higgins under.
Cool. I like that. I can see that.
Higgins
All
is
right.
too high.
Anything else tonight? Anything to strike your face?
Yeah, I'll give you some things real quick, and I'll let you guys run. I took tonight in the association, Jeremy Sosan, over 5.5 rebounds. Second half of the year, he averaged over 7. Went 14 and 5 down the stretch to over that, over 5.5. I would have made it 6.5. Kyrie Irving, pure just numbers play. He went over this total 40 out of 58 games, over 3.5 rebounds. Again, he gets closer to 5. I'm going to take over 3.5. And Jason Tatum went under 5.5 assists 62% of the time last year. We're getting plus 117 on the Park site on a bet that won 62% of the time. And you could say they play the Wizards. That's a good thing. I say it's a bad thing because they could be up by a lot. And we don't see Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter, which can maybe get us an extra 7-8 minutes less than he usually plays.
All right. Love it. Tomorrow we'll go over the rest of the weekend's card.
Yes, sir.
College and NFL. Great stuff, buddy. Brain.
Appreciate you guys.
Brain. There he is.
ODU tonight. Garbage pick.
Oh, yeah? ODU?
Minus 1.5. Old Dominion versus Georgia Southern.
I like Old Dominion. They have a good passing. I actually like them. All right. We got to talk about what happened last night at the Wells Fargo Center. And I'm dying to bring him in because we haven't talked to him, and he's so good. And we have to tackle this whole situation. So let's welcome Kyle Neubeck from our all PHLY show. He does such a great job. I love Kyle. He's one of my favorites. You hear everybody how disgruntled the whole building was last night, Kyle.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad we made sure to match today on the show, Anthony, with the Eagles hoodies. It's always good to be in good company. Yeah, I mean, honestly, as frustrated as I think people are, at the start of that game, I thought the crowd had really good energy, right? Like I do think people are still, in spite of all the nonsense, are still fired up. It's a new season. Tyrese Maxey is someone that people have high expectations for. and then you're immediately confronted with the reality that, like, if you don't have the other two stars, it's going to be tough sledding. It's not to say they're never going to win. It's not to say that Maxey won't play better. Certainly, he's going to do better than 10 for 31 on the average night, no matter who else is out there. But it definitely was a dose of reality. Like, look, you need those two guys out there. This cannot be the solo Maxey show, or there are going to be a lot of nights where teams are throwing doubles, teams are pressing him, doing all kinds of stuff.
They ran doubles at him all night last night. I mean, it's not his fault. Like, he did. Doc was like, "Oh, I'm going to just," because he wanted to win, right? And so,
of course,
all he wanted to do was blitz Maxey, which was the right thing to do.
Yeah, look, so the team concept is built around the idea of you have 3 high usage offensive players, 3 stars, and the other guys have to do the little things, right? Like Caleb Martin, the game he had last night, if you have Joel Embiid and you have Paul George out there, it's like we're all sitting here raving about, man, yes, Caleb Martin, 4 offensive rebounds and doing the dirty work and doing all this. But when you don't have the guys who are capable of helping Tyrese shoulder the load in that way on offense, it's just like, yeah, well, whatever. He had scored like 10 points and just couldn't do enough there. So I think there's going to be a fairly big gap between the games where they have everybody, where I think they can probably win 75% of those games with those guys on the floor together. But when you're missing 2 of them, even one of them is tough, but 2 of them, it's going to be very tough to win.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought the same thing. I'm like, wow, man, Caleb Martin, exactly what I had hoped for. You liked Yabusele. There's a couple things that you liked, but they're all pieces that are supposed to be small pieces, right? Like that come in, and the issue is, Kyle, you got to be upfront with the fan base. Like
100%.
I mean, like, you just can't spring that on 48 hours, like Sunday night, Monday. You got to say that from the beginning. Like, look, he's not going to be ready until November 1st, say, and that's what it is. I mean, nobody wants to hear, hey, he looks great, though. He lost all the weight. He looks fantastic. It was a great sweatsuit he wore last night. Like, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, look, I think the messaging has been the biggest problem here, Anthony. There are too many things that you're asking people to just like, well, if this is true, this can't be true, right? And to your point, if they had gotten ahead of this in training camp or at some point during the preseason and said, look, he's not hurt, he didn't have a setback, but this is the first time this guy's ever played competitive basketball in late July and August at the Olympics. We felt we needed to give him more time off. So that delayed, when he started, I hate using this term, but ramping up. I'm sick of this damn ramp that we keep talking about between Harden last year, Joel this year. But you say, look, he got started a bit later than we would have liked. There's a risk that maybe he misses the first week or so, but things are okay. Like, I think people would be upset, but they would at least understand it. To basically say all preseason, he's on schedule. Okay, so the schedule was not to play the opening week of the season. Like, that's just not believable. You want to say we don't want to play him in back-to-backs. We're going to protect his body, et cetera, et cetera. All of us can buy that, right? Like, we can see the logic behind it. You can't tell me when the last game he played was over 2 months ago at this point. It's like, well, this was the plan to preserve his health. Like, it's just... So it does not add up, and I think they did a very poor job of explaining to the public why they were going to do what they're doing and what exactly they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? Like, there's 13 back-to-backs, so you cross those out. He's going to miss the 3, right? So that's 16. He's going to miss another 10 to 15 other games just to sheer... whatever, just how they go. There's a couple spells here, a couple spells there. I mean, what do you think he winds up playing? I said 50-55. VG was at 40.
If it's 40, they're in some trouble. But I'm not quite there. I'm with you. We did on our prediction show on the PHLY Sixers show. I think we set the over under at like 58, and I took the under. I said I'm expecting around 55. I think if you get 60, which 60 is the amount of games Kawhi Leonard played in 2019 when Nick Nurse won the title with him in Toronto. I think that's an achievable goal. I don't know that they'll hit it, but I think it's at least like that's probably what you shoot for. The big key is going to be, can you keep Paul George healthy? Because I think Tyrese is young enough and he doesn't really play a style where we would sit there and be like, he's a big injury risk. Paul, other than last year, he's gotten older and he's dealt with lots of different, not necessarily devastating injuries aside from that leg injury when he was with Indiana, but lots of like, hey, messed my shoulder up. Hey, I have to deal with this thing. Dealing with the bone bruise right now. So they have to be very conservative with him right now because they can't afford for him to be missing the same amount of time as Joel. I think that became clear last night as you saw what they looked like with just Tyrese.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. Do you think Embiid, it's the doctors where he needs to feel confident in that knee? Like, I don't know. Again, soreness or whatever it is, or just in his own mind where you need X amount of days rest so he can feel comfortable. Is it about that?
I think it's a combination of things, right? Like I do think the reality is at this point that he's going to have to play with some degree of uncertainty and pain with the knee, just base level, right? Because he's had multiple issues. He's a guy who on a good day is 275, 280, 7 feet tall, dragging that up and down the floor. And he does play a physically punishing style, right? And so it's not every game he plays is not going to be, hey, Joel Embiid feels 100%. There's nothing wrong. It's just he has to be really in tune with this is pain versus injury. And I'm sure he is at this point, but it has to be a constant dialogue with the medical staff, frankly, probably with the front office and the coaches to be like, we have to protect you from yourself at times, but you also, as part of that, have to be as transparent as humanly possible with us on where you're at physically, where you're at mentally, because that's the only way you're getting this guy through not just 82 games, but hopefully a playoff run where you got to win 4 series to win a title.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle, I was just seeing this tweet or like a press conference quote from Nick Nurse, and he's like, the plan is why Joel's not playing. Yes, he did not re-injure himself, but the plan is we don't feel he's quite ready, strong enough, light enough, whatever it is, they've determined he's not quite ready to go. I sense from the way he answered your question and this one, he's almost as frustrated as the fans are at this point. Do you get that vibe from him?
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say, and this is probably true of any coach, right? You don't want to be as the head coach, like the medical guy. You don't want to have to answer questions where that's not your area of expertise. You're being told by, so the Sixers had a medical Simon. He's delivering the news and the updates and whatever to you. But he's been very clear throughout, even in training camp when there was still like, hey, we think Joel's going to be ready to start the season. He was saying to us, like, I don't want this every day to be, who did this, who scrimmaged, who was in this drill. Like, that's not how I want to go about every day, and made that clear to the media there. And so I get that. When he's frustrated and shows that to us, I certainly don't take it personally as like oh, he's mad at the media or he's mad at me specifically because he's got to talk about it. In an ideal world, Nick Nurse would love to have a guy, a main star who plays all 82 games and he's answering questions about, hey, why'd you do this with the rotation? Why'd you do this with the scheme? Instead, it's just like, well, who the heck's going to be out there for you guys tonight? And why isn't he out there? And he doesn't necessarily have the best answers for that stuff. So I definitely sense the frustration. And I also understand the frustration.
Do you think, is he in on this plan? Do you think it came as any surprise to him, or do you think he's known the whole time that this is how the plan was going?
I think he knows the vast majority of it. Now, obviously, that he can be in on all of that, but if you show him an MRI or an X-ray or whatever, he's still at the whim of what the medical people say. But yeah, I think a big part of this offseason was you get Drummond, so you have some cover for Joel, guy who can play every night and play well. You go and get Paul George. In theory, he's supposed to be around for nights like last night where it's like, all right, Joel's out, but Tyrese has some cover. So, yeah, I mean, I think he certainly came to Philadelphia knowing what he was signing up for, right? It's not like Joel having health issues is some new thing that fell out of the sky in the last year, but actually dealing with it day to day and signing up for it in the first place, two different things, obviously.
Hey, Kyle, the league investigating, is that just a PR thing where there's a lot, like, we know that Kevin Negandhi and ESPN did their Sports Center there. They were originally not going to go because when they found out Embiid not playing, and then, nationally it gets a lot of play with him not there. And so they announced that they're investigating. Is that just an eyewash thing?
Well, so my understanding, if you actually look at some of the rules, technically it's basically an automatic investigation anytime a star player misses a national TV game. What I have not gotten an answer for yet, and I suspect I won't get it for maybe sometime in the next day or two, I'll get something from some advisory from the league, is whether this will become a bigger thing, right? Because the Sixers have been pretty transparent. I mean, in a story on ESPN in the last month, Joel Embiid effectively said, like, I'm not playing any back-to-backs, right? And so that becomes a little bit different. I think you can say behind the scenes, and the league understands why you would manage a player like that. But once you essentially say months ahead of time, if there's a back-to-back on the schedule, he won't be there, I think that's at the very least, it's an optics problem for the league. So we'll see if it gets beyond, just looking into last night's game. I do think common sense probably wins out, right? Like, they know Joel's health as well as we do, and they understand that the Sixers are going to try to manage him as carefully as they can.
All right. So the last thing from us, and you guys are 3:00 today?
No, we're actually off today because they play tomorrow night and Sunday. So we have a nice Sunday evening show. So that's right. Today's our one day off of the week.
Nice. Tell people what to watch Friday night. Give them a, hey, listen, we all know the reality of the situation, but here's what you need to watch.
Well, number one, will Paul George play, right? So we're probably going to learn in about 90 minutes or so. We're talking around 10:30 on Thursday. They will have practice today at the practice facility. Might get an update on Paul George. He could be in on Friday night. We don't know that. So that's, before anything else.
I guess I wasn't expecting him to play Friday night.
Yeah, I would say I'm not necessarily expecting it either, but it still, in theory, is in play. Right. Aside from that, it's how does Tyrese Maxey respond to a tough first night? I think the good news is after you play Milwaukee, who I'm down on, but they're certainly still a good Eastern Conference team, they get to play Toronto, and Toronto is not very good.
Gary Trent is a good defensive player. I mean, he was locked in, and they doubled him all night.
Yeah, and look, they have Brook Lopez at the rim. They have Giannis helping, and so he's seeing multiple 7-footers at the rim. That's a tough thing to deal with. So
I will
bounce
say this
back game
quick.
from Maxey.
I'm sorry, real quick. He's got to get, and I'm not one of the officials, but he deserves to get a few more calls. I thought there was a couple times where I'm like, yo, you got to blow the whistle on that.
Yeah, it was a conversation after the game. Nick Nurse alluded to it a little bit. I would say there are a couple that he should have gotten, but there are a lot of times I also think he fades away from the basket as he's attacking guys who are bigger, and he's got to, put the shoulder into somebody's chest, initiate the contact, and really put the onus on the officials to blow the whistle. So that's something I'm watching for from him. Otherwise, one, I want to see who they end up starting, because Nick Nurse started KJ Martin last night, and at halftime immediately it was like, get Caleb Martin out there. I would suspect that might be what you see on Friday night. And the other guy that I'm really curious to see what he does this year as a role player is Yabusele. As you said earlier in the show, Anthony, I think he looked pretty good. I think his problem right now, he's being asked to play center, and he is not a center. I think he's, the effort is there. His positioning is pretty good, but you're asking a guy who simply is not tall enough and is not instinctually a big man to do that. So I would like to see some more of him as a forward, where I think, you can see all the stuff he's good at really shine through.
I agree. Great, Kyle. Always great. Look forward to bothering you all season long. So thanks, buddy.
Sounds like a plan. Great sweatshirt again, by the way. Go Birds.
You're the best. Go Birds. I needed something to kind of perk my spirits up.
It's like a
I
palate,
love
a palate
I love
cleanser.
this sweatshirt because I love the color.
Yeah, it's a great. I have that one. It's a great
I know
one.
you do. I just was like,
coordinate one day.
I need to feel it.
It's like a palate cleanser.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's why I had to wear it. All right, tell us about some Dr. Glatt.
Whoa, love the fine folks
Glatt.
at Dr. Glatt.
We love the Glatt.
So, I've been through it. I waited too long. You're worried about your hair thinning out. You wear hats all the time. You don't need to live like that. You go check out our friends over at Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical. Established by the late Dr. Paul Glatt, it's now part of the Morgenstern Center under the direction of the renowned plastic surgeon, Ken Morgenstern. He's a nationally recognized specialist and among few surgeons in the country who's trained in oculofacial plastic surgery. Doctors Glatt and Morgenstern were friends for a while. They shared a remarkable bond that spanned many years. They worked on research together. They worked in the operating room together. And it's everything you need right now from a hair center. So what makes Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical better? Well, it's the same peerless approach to care and the same expert team and the same unmatched Glatt system. Each member of this exceptionally trained team brings over 30 years of experience. And hair restoration is all they do. They don't mess around with Botox or any of that stuff. It's just hair restoration. Anyone can buy equipment and say they do hair restoration, but only Glatt Hair offers decades of proven results using innovative approaches and delivered by leaders in their industry. Glatt Hair can help during all stages of hair loss with leading-edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy and those non-invasive TED treatments. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment, and a caring patient advocate works with you from the first phone call to the last follow-up visit. Glatt Hair Restoration isn't about restoration, it's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit glatthairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
There you go. Glatt.
No need for the hat when you got Dr. Glatt.
Yeah, I like that phrase. I like that. That's very good. All right, let's talk about Parks Casino. Frazier and I were there last night. Andrew and I, we were having some fun at Parks Casino doing the Cousins Corner and hanging out. And, what a spot. How about it, man?
I love it, man. The sounds, the smells.
The beer garden.
The noodle house.
Sports book's unbelievable.
Woo!
Especially during the games, like the tip-off was coming and all the basketball.
Those screens.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like NASA.
It is.
You look it up, you're like, oh.
Houston, we got games on.
There's a great setup. It feels like, there's city casinos, but when I'm at Parks, I feel like I'm at a big casino, Vegas or AC. It's a big casino feel.
Parks Casino, this is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino. So close to anywhere. Street Road exit off of 95 and the P8 Turnpike. And talking about those big casinos, well, the Excite Center is a state-of-the-art entertainment venue inside Parks Casino. 1,500-seat arena. That's right. You got the best places for concerts and comedy right there. Tickets on sale right now. Tonight, here it is. Last time we get to do this.
Oh, man.
TLC.
So, no, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you mine. And no, I don't want to meet you nowhere. No, I don't want none of your time.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Tomorrow night, comedian Michael Blaustein. November 1st, Invincible, a tribute to Michael Jackson.
You start to freeze, and horror looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed. Thriller.
November 14th, Ezra Ray Hart, the lead singers from Sugar Ray, Better Than Ezra, and Tonic join together for an incredible night.
Aha, it was good living with you. Aha, it was good. Aha, it was good living with you.
November
Good,
23rd,
good,
comedian
good.
Steve Trevino. December 6th, Patti LaBelle.
On my own. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. On my own.
Enjoy
I wish we
dinner
could do
and
it all
drinks
again.
before the show at Liberty Bell Gastropub, Parks Grill Steakhouse, or Bamboo Noodle House. Parks.com to buy tickets for all the shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Portion of the show brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY to find out the credit union difference. And now we look forward to this day, always this time, because we do a little trip through football and life, right? No better life experience than Baldy.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football. Oh, Baldy.
Oh, Baldy, right there. He is the man. And, it's a Meat Locker presented by Primos. People are following you with the 7 hours of sleep and the meat. Like people will follow you. You know that.
I mean, I see numbers that say I have a following, so it's possible, I guess.
Well, no, but you obviously have a huge following, but beyond the huge following, people will listen to you and then deploy your same strategies to their lives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Meat is we've got these incisors, because we all have 4 incisors. Those teeth are made to rip meat apart. That's why we have them. That's why they're so valuable. So, I'm a carnivore. I mean, I did eat an orange this morning, which is unusual, but I had an orange. But I eat meat, I eat protein. I used to love vegetables. I thought corn was the greatest thing. And I found out that corn is manufactured now to make cows fat. Well, if they make cows fat, they're going to make humans fat. I used to eat bowls of corn in Minnesota, in Iowa. But it's not it's just going to blow you up. So I just stopped all that stuff. It's just meat right now. Give me 6.5. I got 6 hours of sleep last night. I'm good. But if you give me 7, I could stand on my head for the next 10 hours and not, just be fine. So I got an ocean I got to swim in today. You just got to be active and you got to eat right. And honestly, babies should get sick, but we shouldn't get sick. So I just don't believe in it.
See, this is the wisdom.
He's a guru.
He is.
Yes.
I really think you should dive into that. You should have your own infomercial.
Yeah. I see these guys with books, motivational speakers. He should be on the circuit.
Yoga.
Yeah, yes.
Right?
Here's the difference. Here's the difference with all. I mean, I know all those people are out there. They're all coaching us up on what we should do, what we shouldn't do. The best thing is just to show somebody's lifestyle where you could do whatever you want to do and have the energy to do it. That's the benefit if you're doing things properly, is that you don't feel fatigued. You don't get tired. You wake up out of bed, like Harbaugh says, who has it better than us? We're going to attack the day with reverence. We got to attack. You get up out of bed and go attack.
I don't need no Tony Robbins. I got Baldy. Baldy, I listen to you. I put no poison in my body yesterday. I got 7 hours sleep. I feel great this morning.
I hear you singing. Your voice sounds strong.
Sorry, you have to listen to that.
You're hitting all the octaves right now. The range and the pitch is perfect. That's the benefit of it.
Yep.
All right, before we start football, I got to ask you, because nothing has been working. My allergies have been awful this entire fall. I just wake up and I'm attacked by my own body. I sneeze, I one after another. My wife's oh God, you don't even say God bless you anymore. What do I do for my allergies, Baldy?
Well, here's the thing. You breathe through your mouth, cuz. If you start breathing through your nose, it'll go away. It's just that simple. Now, I started today.
But my nose is clogged.
Yeah, but here's the deal. So I started the day in the steam room. All right. I did 1,000 crunches and I did my deep breathing, my box breathing. So you take 30 deep breaths, preferably through your nose, but if it's clogged, it's clogged. But you're going to open it up. If you take 30 deep breaths, like in the steam room, and then hold your breath for a minute, and you do that 3 times, it's an 8-minute breathing exercise. You will start breathing through your nose. It will clean itself out. Honestly, you've got to get to become a nose breather. If you do that, you'll change the allergies will go away.
Baldy, do you count to 1,000 straight through with these crunches? Do you break them into segments?
I do. I count them in groups of 100. I did 100. I did 1,000 this morning in the steam room. The whole thing,
In the steam room?
and the crunches in the steam room. It's a hot steam room. But like I do the 1,000. If I feel really good, I'll go 1,500. But between the breathing and then the crunches, when I come out of it and hit the cold shower, I've got contrast. My nasal cavities are all completely open. My capillaries in the lung have now been stretched. Your lungs are a muscle. They've all been stretched. Now I'm ready to like attack the day with unbridled enthusiasm.
This is awesome.
Brody, Baldy, like, do you say you have a martini or two?
I had some last night, tequila martinis.
And you feel fine the next day?
Oh man, I keep like, first of all, tequila is the best drink there is. So I had some tequilas. I came
From
down
the
to
natural
Florida.
agave.
Yeah, I mean, you look like tequila is just overpriced, but tequila is like that should be a remedy for a lot of health issues. So I had 3 tequilas last night. It was great. I slept like a baby. I woke up this morning, hit the steam room, and we're ready to roll.
I love
He's
it.
amazing.
It is amazing. All right, let's dive into the matchups on Sunday. First, let's go. We got to tackle Eagles and Bengals. Where are the Bengals at right now? We know they got a little healthier on defense, but where are they at? I'm curious to see where what are you seeing from Cincinnati?
Well, I've seen a little. I mean, they can be a very dangerous team because like they played Kansas City week 2 in Kansas City. They got beat. They had the game won. Rookie makes a mistake on 3rd and 20, and they get a first down. Mahomes finish. Anyways, but in that game, they were down to 2 healthy defensive tackles. All right. Now, since then, Miles Murphy is back. Sheldon Rankins is back. B.J. Hill is back. Trey Hendrickson is having another Pro Bowl season. Fred Johnson's got his hands full. Lou Anarumo is a talented defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
His 2 inside linebackers, okay, Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, they literally are now starting their 5th year together. Like, they're a good linebacking core. Von Bell is back at safety. But honestly, Joe Burrow is just an unbelievable player. Like, he's playing great. Although the last 2 weeks against the Giants and then, last week against Cleveland, like, they put up 2 touchdowns in each game. Like, they have not been great as far as finishing drives off. But if you allow Joe Burrow time, man, he's an assassin. He's just an absolute assassin. So that's the challenge to the Eagles this weekend. And defensively, don't look at any stats of the Bengals. They're not good, but they played very good defense in these last 2 weeks since they gave up 41 in overtime to Baltimore 3 weeks ago.
Well, and that was your point too. You get healthier, right? Like they're a different type of team. It's going to you got to figure it's going to take points to stay in this game. The Eagles' offense. Now, we love what we saw from Barkley last week, but there's still the same stuff with Jalen other than that deep throw down the sidelines. You got to see him use the middle of the field, see the whole thing, not hold on to the ball. Like, it's become the talk of the town. We all see it. Baldy, what does he have to do?
Well, I mean, look, both guys are paid to be franchise quarterbacks. One looks like one in Joe Burrow. And look, they were in a deep crypt 2 weeks ago, and they're coming out of it. They haven't won a home game. They've lost 4 straight home games. And look, the jungle in Cincinnati, it's real. I was there. That place is juiced. Jalen's got this is a Jalen Hurts game. If he's going to be a franchise quarterback, if they're going to get to the playoffs, if they're going to make a run in the playoffs, he has to play better. And it would be good if they actually could come out and put a drive together. They did it again last week, 7 straight games or 6 straight games right now. They can't score a point in the first quarter. Like, it's time to, like, and look, if you're going to say the offense runs through Saquon, that's fine. But your quarterback's got to play better. Like, look, they won 2 in a row. He has to turn the ball over. Part of the reason why they won 2 in a row. So it's good that you're not turning the ball over, but at what expense? Are you just going to play, like, not to lose?
Well,
not
that's
to,
my
like,
point. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because, like, obviously you got to take care of the ball. However, if my quarterback is throwing the ball down the field and moving the football, I don't mind an interception or 2. Like, to me, that's the cost of doing business.
I totally agree. And look, you could bring up Donovan McNabb, Alex Smith, good quarterbacks. Donovan thinks he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I would pull back against that. But regardless, I mean, Donovan didn't throw a lot of interceptions, but he did not make the type of plays that Joe Burrow makes, Patrick Mahomes makes, Matt Stafford makes, where you got to live with the fear. Now, Mahomes has got 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. They're undefeated for a reason. The guy still makes unbelievable plays to finish games and win close games. Like, I talked to Tom Brady about it on Sunday. Like, Brady's like, Baldy, he's got what I have. He's got instincts that you can't teach. So, Jalen, you just can't be a runaround, wait till somebody shakes loose quarterback in this league. It doesn't win big games. So he's got to get the ball out of his hands. The offense is built for it right now. I know he's minus his tight end. Look, Brady told me, he goes, there is no excuses in this business. You go win games with whatever you got. That's the quarterback's job. Get the ball to the open receiver. If he's not open, throw him open. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, that's the price. You talk about the price of doing business. That's what quarterbacks, if you truly are a franchise quarterback, and that gets used way too often, like, go win games.
I'm with you. Quick aside, I forgot you were hanging with Brady. You should be his guru.
I mean, look, I don't think anybody will argue against his 20 years in the National Football League and what he's able to do.
No, I'm talking about off the field. I'm talking about, we know he's the GOAT, but he's one.
He's got world-class supermodels. Like, it's just, he's just in a different, he's on a different
I'd still go Baldy greater than Brady.
Yeah.
In all walks of life. Supermodels.
Yes.
I put yours up.
I'll say this. As good as, like, he owns part of the Raiders. He makes, buku bucks announcing football games. He's had this incredible life. But he's not going to be diving today. Like, I'm going diving today. Water's calm. I'll be down there 30, 40 feet under the water. Like, he's not doing that today.
He has no fun.
No.
He has no fun.
I'm going to have no fun. Yeah. I'm going to have tequila martinis. He doesn't drink tequila martinis. Thursday Night Football, there's tequila coming. Like, he didn't do 1,000 crunches in the steam room with box breathing this morning. I know he didn't. Like, he did a lot of probably good things today. But he didn't wake up with unbridled enthusiasm today like I did.
Yeah. That's right. Baldy. All right. You brought Mahomes. What does DeAndre Hopkins do for that? Because good move. It's interesting because they were trying to get Kupp, but they just couldn't afford the salary. They had to get another team there.
Well, I mean, we can have the same Andy Reid conversation we've had, for 25 years, 26 years. Like, remember last year we did a podcast with Andy, and we were saying, for the first time, Andy, we're talking more about your defense than your offense. And the defense carried it all the way to a Super Bowl win. And they're doing it again this year. And for the first time in Andy's 26 years, cuz, like, they've run the ball more than they've thrown it. But you give Andy Reid DeAndre Hopkins and just watch what happens. Like, I'll bet he catches a touchdown pass this week against the Raiders. Like, I would, if there's a prop bet out there, I would take that bet. Like, nobody integrates and assimilates players from the outside into his offense quicker than Andy. He did it with Kareem Hunt a couple weeks ago. He leads the team in rushing. Like, he looks like he did when he was a rookie right now. Like, he's going to get the ball. So your ex receiver, that's A.J. Brown, that's Amari, that's these elite receivers in this league. You're going to be opposite, the 3 receiver side. You're going to get man coverage. You might get a safety. Like, DeAndre Hopkins has seen every coverage that there is. He's seen Jalen Ramsey twice a year, every year when Jalen was out there. In Los Angeles, and DeAndre was in Arizona. Like, he's going to get the ball, go routes, back shoulder fades, comebacks. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to be a good addition.
So does Cup move? I mean, it's so interesting because, this deadline, man, teams are just trading. Like, this is cool. It's like swashbuckling. And, you're still talking about Max, and you're close with Max. There's talk about Myles Garrett on the move as well. Who do you like to see make a move?
Well, I mean, we see the Rams tonight. I'm sure it's going to be talked about quite a bit. He's 31 with a 2-year injury history. Okay. I mean, yes, 3 years ago, he won the Triple Crown, and he was the best receiver in football. But that's dog years ago, right? So I can see them because Nakua's coming back. And, the guys that they're throwing to right now are getting the job done. They're going to be a second-half team like they were last year. It might start tonight. We'll see against Minnesota. But I think he could be moved. Max has told me that he wants to be a Raider for life. He believes in the culture of the team. But I said, get a quarter. Like, I text him every week. I'm like, get yourself a freaking quarterback. It's horrible what they're doing. So if you said to Max, honestly, would you like to go to the Detroit Lions and have a chance, and he went to college in Michigan, would you want to go join the Lions with Dan Campbell and that quarterback and that team and be the superhero that takes over for Aiden Hutchinson and have a chance to really win a prize, or stay stuck in the I think Max would say, ship me off to Detroit. I'll
go. Is San Fran cooked? No Ayuk. I mean, they're going to get McCaffrey back at some point. Where do you think we're the Niners?
This game is, Sunday night is critical against the Cowboys because the Cowboys are limping in there and they're coming off a bye. I don't think Parsons is going to play. He's their best player. This is a game where Kyle Shanahan, and if Brock Purdy is that guy that, they said that, they got to pay next year, then he's got to be the guy. But I would expect him to run the ball 40 times against the Cowboys. This is a Jordan Mason game, Isaac Garendo game. This is a game where they got to go run the ball. The Cowboys, when they go up against teams that are committed to it, they struggle. And so you got to find different ways to win it right now. Maybe Ricky Pearsall in his second game back after that incident this summer, maybe he shakes loose. They got a kid, Jacob Cowing. They still got Kittle, although he's banged up. All right, if you're Kyle Shanahan and you got to go figure out a way to win this game, on Sunday night and get, and look, the NFC West is not looking to be a great division this year, but you got to stay on pace with at least Seattle right now.
Conversely, is Dallas a non-threat?
They look like it. I can't see them turning anything around. They could win a game, lose a game. But the weakness is we're there this off season when we said, what are you doing, Jerry? You really love this roster? Look, I played for the Cowboys. And that's not because I did, but because I did, I know the history of that organization. And you could go back to 1960 when they were, an incumbent team to the league. They always had a star running back, always. Whether it's Dan Reeves, Walt Garrison, Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith, you go through the list. Zeke Elliott, they don't have that. How can the Cowboys, and Derrick Henry was working out every day in Dallas. And look at it. If you put Derrick, I don't think he's going to be Derrick Henry good in Dallas like he is with Lamar, but he'd be good. And Jerry said, no, we're fine. I like my roster. Well, the roster doesn't look very good, And so, I don't think that they've won 12 games 3 years in a row. If they go double-digit wins, it'll be a great coaching job by Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I feel you. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, just keeping with the Cowboys. Have you read? I don't know who it was. I read on the internet. Some of the players are saying while winning's important, it's all about almost like an attraction where while the players are working out, they have tours coming through the whole time. Have you heard any of that? And would that be a distraction for the players trying to focus on what they're doing?
If you go out to the Star in Frisco where they practice, their facility is unbelievable. I mean, it is unreal. But one half of the facility is literally Jerry's business dealing, Bank of America, all the stuff, Legends, all the stuff that he does. The other half is all football. But the other half that's all football, they do have tours that go through there every day. Now, when you're winning 12 games and going to the playoffs every year, and you're the number one offense in football, nobody says anything. But now that and they were the first team in their new stadium, AT&T Stadium, where they had an entry where all the players go by like this VIP crowd. Like the Eagles have that now, Kansas City has that. But the Cowboys were the first one to do it. And that was all Jerry, marketing, all that. When you're winning, nobody says anything about tours coming through. But when you're losing and Jerry's getting all worked up about talking to the press and all this stuff, then it becomes a distraction. Like I've always said, if you go down to the home game in Dallas, like it almost looks like it's hard to even warm up. There's so many people on the sideline. I'm watching the offensive line, defensive line go at it, and there's people like snapping pictures in front of, Micah Parsons right there. And I'm like nobody has more people on the sideline before a game than the Cowboys.
It's like Rocky III, right? When he's trying to train and Mickey's going, get rid of those dames.
Yeah. Nobody says a word when you're winning 12 games, and being a playoff team. But when you lose, everything, gets pointed out.
Yeah, I feel you. What interests you most? Is it the AFC race with Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore, or the NFC with really the North and Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay?
I think the NFC North interests me because, first of all four of those teams are at the first of all, they all have winning records. In Chicago, I'll be in Washington this week for Chicago, Washington. I'd be surprised if Jaden Daniels goes, but Mariota played unbelievable last week. Best I've ever seen him play, so who knows? But every one of those teams takes the ball away. They're at the top of the leaderboard in takeaways. Every one of those teams' offense is cooking. Every one of those teams made certain changes, whether at the coordinator position. In Detroit, nobody's playing better than Jared Goff in this whole league. He's had 10 incompletions the last 3 games. And their offense, is unreal at this point. So those games and those division games are going to be what we thought the AFC North was going to be. It's just going to be must-see TV. And we saw it last week in Minnesota. Detroit, Minnesota was the game of the week. It was phenomenal football on every level. Like as an analyst, that was a dream game to look at. That's what interests me most is that division.
What has changed with Darnold?
Well, so he starts with the Jets. He gets injured a little bit. It's a horrible organization. He goes to Carolina with, Matt Rule and the changes at coach, GM, all that stuff changed. He goes to San Francisco last year where it's stability. Oh, this is what practice is supposed to be about. This is how coaches actually get on players when they're not doing the right things. This is how quarterbacks should get coached. So he sees that, and then he goes to Minnesota with more stability with Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores doing a great job defensively and taking the ball away and giving extra at bats. And oh, by the way, you're throwing to the best receiver in football, and there's Jordan Addison, and you hand off to Aaron Jones and a really good offense. Like he's never had this before. And so what's happened is he's 29 years old, and now he saw a piece of it in San Francisco, game planning, practice, stability. Now he's seeing the same thing in Minnesota. And this is the guy that was the 3rd pick in the draft with, Baker and that group. Like he's now playing up to his potential and to what the talent was when he came out of USC.
Yeah, it's fascinating. All right, my brother, listen, have a safe journey under 20,000 leagues under the sea.
Yes. I'm taking the camera. I hope I see something big down there today, something big and fast. Like I just want to see a big, big fish, big tortoises, whatever. I need to see a big manta flying by me. Like I just need to see something that's special today.
I love it. All right. Well, listen, safe trip, and we'll see you soon, buddy. Thanks.
Have a great week.
There he is, Baldy. Time now for our Rite Aid back in the day. Back.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day.
with Rite Aid. Yeah!
Yeah, I love it. Thanks to our diehards. Yeah! All right. You guys are the best diehards. What do we got?
Well, we're going back to Lawrence, Kansas. 1982.
Lawrence, Kansas.
Yep.
University of Kansas, Danny Manning?
Nope. Baseball.
Lawrence, Kansas in baseball.
A young topper.
Wow.
And little topper in his Jayhawks jersey back in the day, 1982.
Wow, look at that. That's fabulous. What made you do that?
It just popped up on my timeline. I was like, wow, he looks great. He looks almost the same, just like slightly younger.
He does. Looks like the same.
Yeah.
Oh, that's classic. Wow, I didn't look at that. I didn't even know he was a Jayhawk.
I had no clue.
Rock chalk Jayhawk.
No clue. Hey, before we get out, can we just play like a little bit of Michkov from last night?
Yeah, we got to. I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to feel good about the Michkov.
Yeah.
Because it's a Michkov moment. And, I mean, look, the truth of the matter is, look, it was an ugly start, but they didn't quit, Flyers.
Yes.
So,
Michkov was a little chippy, too. I like this kid's got a little edge.
Ovechkin's on the ice with him.
Yeah. And it's weird
His hero.
because someone's giving him the business. There's a language barrier, but he's getting that.
Yeah.
This is him getting chippy right before a face-off.
It looked like the Flyers were down and out, and Washington had assumed control, and then they go on the power play. And all of a sudden, it's a hockey game once again with 3:44 to go in the second.
There, he's up at the top.
Michkov and Duhaime, a little words right there, and Michkov staring him down. You're not backing away. Trying to read the lips of Duhaime, but I think the same. You don't want that.
Not intimidated.
Who got in front of him, which I love too.
Yeah, I don't know.
To his
protect him a little bit. Yeah.
I love that kid.
Yeah.
Listen,
and then we got.
He's a young Russian. He's like, are you kidding me?
We might have.
come from.
We might have a sniper.
Oh yeah.
This goal. We've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Starts for 4-on-3 for the next 7 seconds. Then it'll transition to 5-on-4 with Wilson. Konechny release. Michkov scores! Matvey Michkov! The Flyers are within 1. Traffic in front of Thompson, and Michkov shot.
That was fire.
Yeah, man.
Fire, Frazier.
Michkov.
He's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one more highlight. I dare you to tell me you can't get spite enjoyment from this highlight.
All right, let me see.
You said
Tobias?
you're not a spite fan.
Yeah.
Better than Tobias. These are Ben Simmons highlights from last night.
Oh, good. I will get it.
That's come down with Simmons.
Bad pass.
An immediate turnover, a loose ball. Hunter hits the deck, thrown to Capella. Back out to Dyson Daniel.
Watch this layup.
Goes in.
Brick.
Lays it up short. 61-56.
These passes are unbelievable.
Simmons. Poked away by Dyson Daniels.
Here's another
and again, the Hawks can cheat on defense a little bit.
Oh, Ben threw it. 15 for Dyson in his Hawk debut. And a pick.
Get second chance opportunities.
10-point lead, game's biggest, and this is going to go on.
Oh
brutal. I think he ended up with 6 points, 8 assists, but dude, he looked terrible.
Oh, my
all those
God.
all those videos Nets fans saw.
Yeah. I'm back. I'm back and alive.
Yeah.
VG loves the spike joy.
For certain people.
He's a spike guy, yeah.
He's a spike joy guy.
Yeah.
Larry David did this spike.
Oh, it's the best.
This
Spike coffee shop.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
You ain't got the
Spike
beans.
Larry's
You ain't got the
latte.
beans. You can't get the beans.
Latte Larry's, yeah.
Latte Larry.
Right, that was great.
You screw down the tables so they
You're
don't
a
rock.
sports spite. You're a sports spitesman.
I don't mind a good spite.
Sports spite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If people deserve it, sure.
Tobias.
Ben
Simmons.
deserves it.
Deserve it.
Simmons definitely deserves it.
And the crazy thing is, I mean, he's a facilitator. Those passes were horrendous. And then he bricked the layup.
He's got pizza board hands.
Ed Wright
He
said,
got no touch.
Ed Wright says, Spike never sleeps.
This is your wake-up call, Ben Simmons. All right, that's going to do it for the show, everybody. We love you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for Football Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.